Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and I had a poll set up to try and get a Spider-Man related video done around the time Madam Web came out. And while I missed the date, today we'll finally look at the poll winner of JoJo Stands as Spider-Man. Depending on how well it does, if or when I come back to this, we'll probably change it a little. Maybe be both JoJo characters and their stands fused together as a spider person, so it's a bit easier, since that's kind of what happened with two of them. But we'll see. Anyways, let's check out the JoJo stands as Spider-Man, shall we? Good evening, members and viewers. For today's Spider Society documentation, we'll be looking at a few members that, when they got their spider abilities, they were able to also get more bizarre abilities compared to basic Spider-Man. Take, for instance, Spider Echo from Earth 32463371. Not to be confused with the Spider Echo from Earth 3246372, Earth 3246373, or the other two that I don't remember the Earths they're from. Anyways, Floyd Gargan grew up in New Mariah City, and while a bit on the shorter side than average, was living a decent life with his father, Mac Gargan, a private investigator whose job didn't always pay great, but he was able to make do for him and his son. However, when a teenage Floyd got sick, Mac had to take a risky deal to save his son's life. Dr. Farley Stillwell, a former scientist at Oscorp that was researching on how to introduce animal mutations into humans as a way to save lives before he was fired, and his project was said to be scrapped, but he wasn't so sure. Stillwell hired Mac to investigate Oscorp and see if they still had his research, along with finding out what they could be using it for. Mac was able to sneak in and find some evidence on the illegal military deals they had planned. However, Mac was discovered and was only able to send circumstantial evidence and a message apologizing to his son. Feeling guilty about separating the father and son, Stillwell treated the boy, but used the research he did have to concoct a spider-based mutagenic and gave it to Floyd. It worked, giving him spider abilities and being able to shoot webs from his body, but an interesting mutation somehow occurred in him. Instead of the usual sound, Floyd is able to change it, echoing noises like car horns, telephone rings, and such, and somehow the web itself can be used to influence people's minds, like giving them hope in a dreary situation. Don't ask how this happened. I'm not a scientist, and don't ask the scientist either. Anyways, Stillwell set him up with an interesting suit to help him out, making Floyd almost look like some sort of snake, or tadpole, or scorpion. And Floyd became Spider Echo, hoping to free his father from Oscorp and protect the city of New Mariah City. With the Spider Society, he is a bit of a goofball, since again, his webs can change people's moods. So it can be very funny when one of our members is being pretty egotistical, and he just shoots them with web and makes them scared of even their own shadows for a few moments, making him great at capturing criminals with that. However, his biggest challenge is Oscorp's deadliest weapon, a villain they control using the same research made by Stillwell, called the Scorpion. It's pretty tragic that Spider Echo has to fight his own father, isn't it? Kakio of Earth 25286 is from a more Italian-inspired USA, living in New Venezia in the foster system since a young age. While a quick thinker and quite intelligent, Kakio is also a bit crass and irritable, even at a young age, getting him constantly in trouble and bouncing from home to home. He seemed to catch a break in high school, as one day in detention for his irritable attitude, he and the other students in detention somehow found some common ground and quickly became friends. This group became a terror off the school grounds and started committing crimes, each having their own unique skills and roles to make them extremely successful. So much so that Kingpin approached them and had them brought into his gang. At first, they thought this was a good thing, but over the years, they noticed they were getting paid far less than the other members, and their group was one of the most successful, as the main Spider-Man of this Earth seemed to foil the other jobs more often. Kakio thought themselves to be the best group in Kingpin's organization, and with his group's leader, devised a plan to prove their group was the best. They found out about an experiment at Alchemix Labs, involving radioactive spiders, just like the one that gave Spider-Man his powers, and planned to steal them for themselves. Their plan worked extremely well, with seemingly no trace of their crime leading back to them directly, as they each had a spider bite them. However, with how well the crime was committed, the secret backer of Alchemix, Kingpin himself, was able to trace the crime back to them and sent a hit on them. Even with the enhanced abilities from the spiders, one by one, each member of their group fell, until Kakio was the only one left. For some reason, his spider gave him the ability to freeze the air around him, be it to make objects out of ice, or to even freeze some bodies of water. But it could also make an invulnerable set of ice armor, which helped him to survive for a good amount of time. However, it seemed to be the end for him when Tombstone was finally sent after him. But luckily for Kakio, he was saved by the main Spider-Man of this Earth. To help him lay low, Kakio was brought to the Spider Society. Though he was a bit annoying at the start, we were able to get Kakio to open up, and soon started to train him. Soon, White Spider joined the Spider Society, not to confuse with the other White Spider, and got him set up with a normal spider suit to have under the ice armor, and put him on a special team to do covert missions across the Spider-Verse. If this video does well, maybe someday we'll talk about the other 6 on this team. But for now, let's take a break before moving on. Just a quick reminder, we have a Patreon set up. It's one of the best ways to help support the channel. As a patron, you get access to monthly art polls, early access to content, and monthly art rewards, starting with character headshots. So if you can, head over to our Patreon to become a patron today, starting at $3 a month. Every little bit helps. Anyways, now back to the Spider People. Back on track, Earth 227838 has an interesting Spider-Woman. Mariah Landa can be best compared to Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat. And maybe there's another version of her out there that is Mariah Hardy and is Felicia's half-sister, but that one would probably have a suit that's more of a mix of cat and spider. If only that occurred to someone while designing the character for this video, right? Right? Anyways, Mariah is a bit daring yet calm, along with being a bit devious and nimble, as she was a petty thief in her youth, but only went for what she needed to survive, looking to keep her low profile. However, she was caught by the chameleon when she tried to pickpocket him, though didn't know it was him at the time. He was a bit impressed by her nimbleness as she tried to escape him, and gave her a job that he claimed would be easy. Soon, Mariah was sent off to Africa to help his brother, Craven, break into a locked tomb with a team of other criminals tomb raiders, and the like to acquire a secret artifact the hunter was looking for. The tomb was a death trap, killing most of the people on this team, yet Mariah showed her resourcefulness and dealt with each trap they faced. They finally got to the center of the tomb, where multiple masks lined the walls, with a golden tiger mask in the center. Kraven went towards the tiger mask, yet Mariah stayed back. She had noticed the tomb mostly had imagery of spiders, and wondered why the tiger one would be on full display in the center. She quickly figured this was the last trap, and frantically looked for some spider fiend mask. It was too late, as when Kraven put the mask on, he was changed, cursed by the false mask, as he became more beast than man. Kraven lost control and attacked his team, his rampage causing the tomb to start collapsing. Mariah found the spider mask, surprised when a hidden passage was revealed, and used it to escape. She was able to make it back to the States and believed everything would be fine, thinking she could pawn the mask off somewhere. But soon she heard of attacks from some sort of tiger-looking beastman and figured that Kraven was near. Looking more to protect herself than stop the hunter, Mariah put on the mask and was given spider powers, but for some odd reason, it also granted her the ability to magnetize non-metal objects, like people, with her webs, with the magnetism staying on them for a few hours, and the more webs used on them, the stronger the pull. Mariah became Spider Bast, and faced Kraven and a few other people that got cursed by the same masks. It has been a asset to the Spider Society is a strong word, but she's technically helpful when she's not magnetizing people together. I was once magnetized with such a strong pull that Spider Mobile had to try and go full throttle to try and not get pulled onto me. Not to mention the time Spider Raleigh almost got pulled apart when she had magnetized both Mal Web and Spider Ray. Spider Bast can be a bit much at times, but better to have her with us than against us. Our last spider person today will be Spider Platinum from Earth 78277. Joto Kujo grew up in New Kakio City with his single mother, Penny Parker Kujo, while his father pretty much left him at a young age. Joto grew up to be quite big, yet quiet. A gentle heart that's a little rough around the edges. One day, however, his mother got sick and didn't know what to do. However, his grandfather Ben Parker recognized her symptoms and knew of a cure for Penny. The only problem was it was locked behind Oscorp's walls, as it was a cure Ben himself was working on before he was let go. Ben tried to reach a deal with Oscorp CEO Norman Osborn for the cure, but he was turned down, claiming he'd only hand over the cure if given the files on Ben's personal project Norman knew he was working on. In his free time, Ben was able to create the radioactive spider we all know and only really talked about once in this video. And Norman secretly poisoned Penny with the one disease only he could cure, as his plan to finally get the research for himself. Ben knew he couldn't give Norman his work, but he couldn't let his daughter die either. Knowing he had 50 days before it was too late, he made his decision and asked his grandson to help with it. Using his research, Ben had a spider made for Joto and had it bite him, giving him the usual spider powers, along with making him stronger, faster, and more durable than an average spider person. They trained for 40 days, getting most of his techniques down, his route through Oscorp plan, and his suit ready. with him even starting to fight crime during his training, and soon, Spider Platinum was ready. He was able to make it through with relative ease, until Norman revealed himself in a green and purple robotic suit. Norman started to figure Ben would try something like this, so, using research he stole from the late Dr. Stillwell of this Earth, Norman created a counter for whatever Ben tried to pull. The two were quite evenly matched. However, Norman grew more and more crazed, the mutagenic turning Norman into the Green Goblin, and he soon had the edge. But when Spider Platinum raised his hands to shield himself from one of the Goblin's bombs, he soon found it and everything around him frozen in place. Somehow, this radioactive spider was able to give him the ability to freeze time. How? I don't know. Maybe the same way Madam Web is able to see through time, or loop in time, or whatever that movie is about. Too cheap to watch it at full price, and too lazy to just Google this info. But Spider Platinum quickly pulled himself away before time unfroze, and he now had the upper hand. The fight took him into the streets, and it only stopped when a road roller crushed the Green Goblin. Joto was quickly able to get the cure and save his mom, yet he was concerned when no body was found under the road roller by the police. Joto knew that Spider Platinum would need to stay, and so he embraced his powers and became a great hero in New Kogia. He's probably one of the strongest spider people I've talked about strength-wise so far, but do wonder who is the strongest. That's not important right now. Thank you for your time. Please submit any requests on spider people you'd like to hear about in the comments below. I have no idea how well this bizarre entry will go, but I feel if we talk about similar spider people again, it will be formatted much differently. Have a good day. And that was JoJo Stands as Spider-Man. Sorry it took so long. I think I got a bit too exhausted after the back-to-back videos at the start of February, but do hope to finally start getting a video out once a week. Just don't hold me to that. But what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments, along with other stands I should try turning into Spider-Man, other series I should turn into Spider-Man, and other video ideas I could do with JoJo stands. If you want some more Spider-Man videos, we have Dreamweaver's playlist, which includes SCPs and Hell of a Boss characters as Spider-Man, plus we have Spider People as JoJo stands, and the most recent Pal Worlds as stands. And if you liked what you saw, then leave a like, and subscribe to join our growing little Arcane town, to be in the know for future polls, videos, and projects. The 800 sub special should probably be in late March or April for sure, and we might be able to get to the 1000 sub special very soon too. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later!